As always, we are kicking off this video with viewer recommendations, starting with Sam and Alien Dark Descent. I feel like this game came out and was immediately forgotten. I'm always down for a new dark and gritty Alien game. That tactical top-down squad-based gameplay is the one thing that's holding me back from getting it. But with a huge price drop, I'm willing to give it a try. The next recommendation is from Lester with Axiom Verge, a 2D Metroidvania with an alien atmosphere. The monster design looks really dope and there is already a part 2 of this game as well. So if you have played it, let me know if it's worth a try. But what's scarier than a world full of aliens is not having a physical copy of your favorite game. That's why I recommend ordering your games on PlayAsia. They have a great variety of limited and smaller games and offer worldwide shipping. And speaking of amazing games, let's talk about the rest of these games on this list. Hey yo guys, how are you doing? Today we are going retro on PlayStation 5. From remasters to modern games with a retro vibe. This video is packed. So grab yourself some pizza, kick back and make yourself comfortable, and let's get the kick out of gaming. Kicking off this list with Bound by Flame. Bound by Flame is an action RPG set in a dark medieval world ravaged by a demonic plague. We take control of Vulcan, a gruff warrior who gets possessed by a demon through a twist of fate. Now we have to face a critical choice. Bound by Flame boasts a branching narrative where our choices regarding the demonic influence have real consequences. Embrace the flames and gain incredible power, but risk turning into a monster, or resist and rely on our human skills but struggle against more powerful foes. This mechanic creates interesting story moments throughout the game. The combat on the other side is filled with clashes against demonic foes. We have access to 3 basic skill trees: Warrior, Ranger and Pyromancy. The first 2 can be switched between freely, and magic provides support spells like flaming weapons for extra damage. But we also have a trusty crossbow and trip mines at our disposal. While the combat system isn't super deep, it's fun and engaging with a few boss fights that might test your patience. Bound by Flame is an ambitious game that is held back by its budget. Despite its flaws, it offers a great retro RPG experience, with a perfect playtime of around 15 hours and a budget-friendly price tag. So it's definitely worth checking out. This was my first game developed by Spiders and it truly impressed me. They captured the essence of old school action RPGs, making me want to explore their other titles. Which leads to the next game on this list, Greedfall. This swashbuckling adventure with a supernatural twist really hit me by surprise. From a plague-infested 18th century pothole, we set sail, ready to take on the wilds of a mysterious island filled with magic, intrigue and more political drama than a release of a modern AAA game. But let's forget about the main story for a second, because we will be busy getting roped into helping random NPCs with their existential crises. On the plus side, most side quests are strongly tied to our main mission and will also impact the story throughout the game. At the start, Greedfall can be a bit slow, but once we get through the first few hours, the storyline ramps up and kicks off an epic adventure. I'm about 10 hours in, and I have to say, until now, it was a blast. But I'm also starting to struggle right now, because it feels like this game should end, and there is still a lot of repetitive stuff to do. So don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful crafted RPG with a richly detailed world, and I did like it a lot, but I'm not sure if I will finish Greedfall, and I'm kinda torn. So if you played this game, let me know, did you have a similar experience? And another thing that I need to mention, there seems to be a serious shortage of hot chicks on this virtual island. But we're getting off topic. In summary, so far Greedfall is a fun adventure game, with a good dose of mystery and enough side quests to keep you busy for hours. Greedfall has a good mix of lore, political intrigues, monsters, combat styles, and even a bit of stealth, a skill you need to perfect for the next game on this list, Styx, Master of Shadows. In this game we are taking a plunge into a shadowy, cutthroat fantasy world. As a snarky and sneaky goblin with a face only a mother could love, we suffer from Lazy Rider's plot device number 1, amnesia. Styx can't remember much, but he knows one thing. His mission is clear as day. He has to infiltrate the infamous Tower of Arcanesh, an imposing fortress, to find and steal the Heart of the World Tree. Along the way, we'll take down evil governors, fracture the fragile alliance between man and elves, and discover some shocking truths about the nature of the world. As you might have guessed, the story of this game is quite deep, and I did really enjoy it. When it comes to the gameplay, Styx Master of Shadow is a pure stealth game. We might not be able to take on an army head on, but with a dagger and the dark corner, we'll make those goons wish they'd never signed up for guard duty in the first place. We are also scaling walls, crawling through tiny holes, and sticking to the shadows. The levels are surprisingly huge and vertical, but where's a will, there's a way. Overall, the abilities we have at our disposal are all fun to use, and on top of that, the game has an amazing story and soundtrack for a budget title, with some interesting lore and awesome cinematics. Despite some rough edges, Styx Master of Shadows deserves a place in your collection, and make sure to check out the rest of the series too. But that's a story for another time, and today our adventures in the shadows continue with the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. This Master Collection bundles together 3 of the greatest games ever made, but once you boot up the PS1 original, it's abundantly clear that there is still nothing quite like the OG Metal Gear Solid. We enter a world of government conspiracies, genetic clones, and more plot twists than a soap opera on steroids. We play as Solid Snake, a top agent sent to stop an armed uprising led by renegade special forces. This mission takes us on the remote Shadow Moses Island. Unfortunately, the gameplay doesn't hold up quite as well. Obviously, it would be unfair to compare the title to its modern compatriots, but it's equally difficult to ignore those flaws. The stealth is tense but sometimes feels stiff and unforgiving. But for all its quirks and absurdities, Metal Gear Solid has a charm that's hard to resist. Thanks to its hilariously over-the-top voice acting, the crazy good boss battles, or the twists and turns of its storytelling. It was so much fun that when I started capturing this footage, I kept on playing and completed the game again. I still think that the first Metal Gear Solid is the best in the series, but the other games are well worth experiencing too. And after you've finished with those few amazing titles, we continue on with the next game on this list, Demon Turf. Demon Turf puts us in the role of a young demon, and we tasked ourselves with taking down the Demon King, but we can't just face him head on. First we need to take over his turf, and that means making our way through a ton of levels filled with platforming challenges. In old school platformer style, we are starting off from a hub world where we can access numerous areas, each having its own patch of levels to complete. When it comes to gameplay, we have a wide variety of jumps, glides and wall runs to break the distance, but becoming the ruler of the underworld isn't a walk in the park. There are some mind-bending puzzles, boss battles that will raise the dead, and enough hazards to make a demon horde flinch. One wrong step and it's back to the fiery pits for you. It took me about 20 hours to finish Demon Turf, and I think if it was compressed down to 10 or 15 hours, this game would have been perfect. But despite its challenges, Demon Turf is a fun 3D adventure. So if you're craving some platforming fun, then join the quest to conquer the demon world. Next up on this list we have a top-down detective noir style game with a strange name, Pecaminosa. This is a bizarre RPG noir adventure with elements taken straight from the classic detective movies. but also with a pinch of supernatural mysteries and occult creatures thrown in. As a washed up detective, we are on the strangest case of our career, helping the ghost of a dead mobster in his aim to wash away his sins and reach for heaven. There is a good mix between gameplay and story elements in this game, and this game takes its time to build a pretty dark and gritty setting, where every NPC has some alternative motives. All this comes in a pixelated art style accompanied by a dope jazz soundtrack. On the other hand, be warned, there are some pretty repetitive boss battles and frustrating backtracking that kept the game from being a masterpiece. But overall, Pecaminosa hits all the right notes in both the pixel art style and noir genre for me. It has fun fights and some entertaining minigames to break the routine. It is easy to recommend if you like some classic 2D action with a good portion of noir mystery. The next game on this list has a similar art style but offers non-stop action from start to finish. OTXO. No clue what's up with the name, but this violent top-down shooter ruled off rip. The bloody pixelated Hotline Miami gameplay kicked in hard, and once the beat got going, I was freaking hooked. But let's start at the beginning. We play as a nameless protagonist entering a mysterious mansion in search for our lost love. As we venture deeper into this magical and mystical mansion, we cut our way through various unique areas to face our inner demons and annihilate them. Similar to a game named after a phone call to the Magic City, the basic gameplay loop is addicting and fast-paced. With an additional slow-mo mechanic at our disposal, OTXO will make you feel powerful and more in control. However, the variety of enemy types thrown in our way can quickly turn the tides of the combat if you don't adapt accordingly. In between levels, we enter a bar to grab some drinks for an extra buff, which are quite helpful, especially in later levels. Overall, this game did hit all the right notes for me and it goes freaking hard. I highly recommend this game if you need a quick pick up and play action fast. If on the other hand you want to play an old school Souls-like, then check out the next game on this list, Code Vein. Also known as vampire anime waifu Dark Souls. And it turns out that this goofy premise is one of the most competent Souls rip-offs out there. Code Vein takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity is on the brink of extinction and vampires roam the land. We play as a customizable protagonist who tries to uncover the mystery of the vein. When it comes to gameplay, it's the tried and true Souls formula with a splash of Japanese cartoons. You will spend your time exploring labyrinth-like dungeons, battling some well-designed monsters and dying a lot. Death is as common in this game as NPCs with a tragic backstory. Another tragic thing is the level design. It really has its ups and downs. Some areas are straight up mazes that are leaving you confused and running in circles. Despite having a minimap available, I got lost a few times, but in conclusion the game is pretty cool and I like the atmosphere a lot. And if you need an extra kick in Souls gaming, then check out the next game on this list as well, Wo Long Fallen Destiny, the Complete Edition. Wo Long Fallen Destiny is an action RPG from Team Ninja, the developers behind Nioh. It's set in a dark fantasy version of the Three Kingdoms area of China. A mysterious elixir is turning people into demonic creatures, including some famous Chinese warlords fighting for control over the land. Good thing is that along the way, we'll encounter a colorful cast of characters, including some larger-than-life Chinese folklore heroes that also fight alongside us. In Wo Long, this is the default, where an ally or sometimes even two will accompany you from a mission start to its concluding boss fight. Or you can even invite some friends and co-op this game. In addition, you can also raise flags on certain points and levels, which will give you an extra defense boost. This makes exploring those large levels even more rewarding. But the game still packs a punch, so I recommend you sharpen your chopsticks and get ready for some ridiculously well-designed monsters and boss fights. Overall, if you want a more action-oriented Souls-like, which is easier to get into but still hard to master, I highly recommend giving Wo Long Fallen Destiny the Complete Edition a try. And just a heads up, yes, this is a Chinese reskin of Nioh, and I feel like if you played one of the newer Team Ninja games, you know exactly what to expect. But if you want to try a different breed of hack and slash game with old school get good vibes, then give the final game on this list a try. Ninja Gaiden, the Master Collection. In these games we play as the master ninja Ryu Hayabusa, who suffers from generic tragic ninja backstory. Our clan gets put to rest and we get sliced by a mysterious foe. So we are out and about seeking revenge in one of the best hack and slash games ever made. Ninja Gaiden Sigma, the first and best game in the collection. With multiple weapons, tough as nails enemies and a badass soundtrack, we need to get good and learn some cool moves along the way, such as the Itsuna drop. This game has also some of the best and hardest boss battles in video game history. One boss fight in particular can make you feel like you got a permanent residence inside From Software's beta tester HQ. But hey, for all its frustrations, Ninja Gaiden has a charm that's hard to resist. There's something undeniably satisfying about this series. It's the classic hack and slash formula in perfection, even if it does make you want to chuck your controller out of the window from time to time. So should you pick up the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection? Absolutely. Just remember, Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 are pretty dope games and we all pretend that Ninja Gaiden 3 never happened. And that's it, my dudes. These are my favorite retro games on PlayStation 5. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments down below which old school retro game is your favorite to play on the PlayStation 5. And more importantly, which classic do you want to see ported onto modern systems? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, kick the like button, sharing is caring, and subscribe. But most importantly, have a great day and get the kick out of gaming.
So there's something you like about me, huh?
Yeah, you've got a great butt.